Hello again. After seeing Mariana project, we are going to take a little bit step back because we don't have an XRF in the professional school, but we have other techniques that was shown here as well. So I'm gonna talk about the connecting the conservation and restoration, but with the view of teaching. So how can we manage all these analytical methods, and how is done with students that are not in higher level of education like university, but high school level. We're talking about students of secondary education, which is our till 18 years old. So that's why I'm saying we are going to take a little bit of a step back from what we are seeing here. The professional school is located in Sintra. The school is this building. They moved there 2005. They were at Sessão before 2005. And on the right, you can see an image of the class, one of the shift of the class, because we had to divide them in two. There are a lot of students. And this photo is from Marta. It's an upper view of the workshop, the plaster workshop there at the professional school. The aims are very clear. We want the students to understand what are analytical methods, how can they apply, and what are the results that they can take from that and apply to conservation and restoration. It's very clear. So usefulness. Put into practice, because these are students that have a final viva to get the degree, to a jury of 7 to 9 elements, one from the Ministry of Culture, another one from the regulator of heritage and culture in Portugal, which is a big responsibility. So everything needs to be of excellency, so to say. Theory to practice, and finally this viva that I'm talking about, which is the final proof that they have. I showed here in the conference, it was a lot of artworks. I only gonna show two. These are the two. On the left, you can see the putti plate, which is from the Charola do Convento de Cristo from Tomar. You can see the image in the middle, which is already the restoration that was made. Up and down. In the middle was one that was in good conditions. That's why the school took one of the originals and put copies there for conservation purposes. And that's why we have the originals. We don't have copies, we have the originals. And that is an important question. This was made in 1999, with also students from this school. So we are talking about two complete different generations of students that did conservation on this. The first class was in situ at Charola de Sintra, do Convento de Cristo and Tomar, I'm sorry. And this class was the inventory and conservation of these originals that stayed in school. So putti plate and abarradas. These are the two cases that I bring you here. An important question, I think that João talked a little bit about the space management, because he was at the museum, at the palace of the Ajuda, and the tourists were walking, and that's important. It wasn't closed. Well, here it's students, minors. We have to be very careful. They are normally very responsible. They are already students of heritage, so they know the responsibility that they have in their hands. But it was interesting to do two shifts and change the space management and both, and see which one was better. And the one which was circular was better. And that was interesting, because the artworks would circle like this instead of a line, and the students will walk easily around and not in a line. This was important for us to understand. When you are working as conservators, if you have a big team, how are you going to do it? And that was interesting for us to understand that the circular is better than line as a factory. It was interesting. The analyticals that we used was photographic record, which was basic. But the interesting point here was that we have another professional course in the school, which is photography. And they wanted to join and they enjoyed. And one of the students actually made her Viva about this. And it was interesting to mix all the different courses and interests of this project. So you can see on the right the students with her teacher of photography doing the records. These are the results. And after that, we digitalized for the students to do the pathology. Here, another thing which was interesting again was that a simple smartphone with this kind of filter will do the same job as an Adobe Photoshop filter. And I mean, it's very simple. It's even simpler. And this is interesting to use a smartphone for many things. And this one was one of them. The students to understand they can use their phone to do this. Another thing that they used their phone to was the recording the photos around the artwork to do the photogrammetry demonstration. And this is a thing that we are doing a lot. Some of them use this for conservation. After that, they do the 3D design output to do a conservation, and we've seen some master degrees about it. The others do as an online website of the museum. Well, that's a lot of purpose. So they can understand it. We have free software to do it, not only to put on the photogrammetry, but to do the 3D. It's free, and they can easily do it. Well, this digitalization was used for them to record the pathologies. They did it on the workshop, and they did it on the computer because the reports, they want to have the best reports possible for the big responsibility Viva jury that they will have at the end of the course, of the degree. So this is one of the examples, and this is another one. They had the analyticals and the pathology all together in the same maps. Here again, the hygrometry is important for conservation purposes. This was interesting because the artworks were maybe going to change place, and they need to understand what are the values that they have right now so they can try not to shift completely in the next or the new place they are going to be stored. So this preventive conservation topic here as well in our little project. Microphotography, which is basic, but first, once again, we are talking about high school students, not university. Here, the portable microscopy, you have the Dino-Elite and the Carson. The Carson is much cheaper and can do very similar results. And that was interesting, once again, from 400 euros to 1,500 euros, the difference of the price of the equipment, it can do the same job. And this is particularly interesting. In the video, you can see 3 hands, right? And right now you have 2 hands. Well, these 2 hands are from 2 different people. And what I want to comment on this is these are students that have been working for 3 years together. So the kind of agility to do a micro sampling of 2 hands from 2 different people, 2 different brains, and work this out. It's people that have been working for 3 years. And this was very interesting to see. I didn't even stop. I was just recording and didn't say anything. And after that, I explained to them, how could you do that? You are 2 different people, 2 different hands, and did the job. That's amazing. I would never do this. I only do mine myself, my right hand and my left hand. Well, they do it 2 different people. It was very interesting. So we took some samples because we have the possibility to have an XRF or another equipment like Raman spectroscopy or something to do this characterization of the plaster to make a database. After that, organizing information. I know that we don't talk about this a lot, but with students is important how we organize the information. We have analytical results. How are we going to do it? And we use the drive and we explain that they have to do it in different techniques and in different ways and organize it for the final Viva report and presentation. We also had this amazing pandemic that we have, right? That we delayed our Congress, and this affected as well our teaching. my teaching, my planning, everything. And I created a YouTube channel that you have a lot of analytical methods, videos there, techniques from imaging to laboratory techniques, art history and heritage. You can check that out. And for the students, was important so they can review again and understand better the techniques or try to listen what I was saying and write their reports. So it was very useful. I'm just going to show a little bit because this is artwork from here that I give an example.
Em gesso, do lado esquerdo a visível, em que aparentemente não tinha nada, mas depois com a ultravioleta foi-se observar que a escultura estava pintada na zona da face, com este tipo de tinta que fluoresce muito bem com a ultravioleta, e também na zona do torso tinha uma seta apontada. Isto pode ter sido tintas anteriores que removeram e ficou algum vestígio, pode ser esse tipo de caso.
So I was trying to give an example for the ultraviolet light radiation and what you can achieve.
Em gesso.
Conclusion, some reflections. Although we have a pandemic, this Congress survived and my little project survived as well, and that is good. That is very nice that we can work this around through all the adversities. And plasters, the plaster artworks that were already used, conserved, and worked out by another class 20 years ago was enthusiastic for the students to keep that motivation and sensibility to preserve our heritage. That was very interesting. And last sentence, which my supervisor, which is Marta, really liked the uncomplicate the complicated, because that's what I try to do. I try to simplify the language. And analytical methods, chemistry and physics, is very complicated for high schools. And I try to uncomplicate that and try to give them examples as much as I can so they can understand that it's useful. It's not only to feel, it's useful. They can take information from that. And finally, I would like to thank the class. They are all here. It was very funny to take this photo with them. It was a lot of students. And I would like to thank you for your attention as well.